conversation at one point. I'm just like, well, you take my talent somewhere else. And it was kind of like I had a friend that owned the company. He owned it was called a Medicaid support waiver company. People use the waiver to, kind of like, take their kids to really do whatever they wanted to do. They're dependents or their loved ones. So I was doing that. It's probably one of my most rewarding jobs. It just didn't pay much.
Yeah.
So you kind of had to.
Seems like that's how I usually.
Yeah,
it's
that's how
right?
it is.
Yeah. Unless you're working,
Yeah.
less lucrative.
So unfortunately I had to, I had some friends in the lending business, and thought why not give it a shot. At one point I was like, I don't want to be the guy at Chase Bank, just, that guy in the cubicle, just sitting there. I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to be there. Yeah, so I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. So then it was like, well, it's not necessarily, not all, brokers or lending companies are like that.
Yeah.
So MJW Financial was one that kind of fit my skill set. People person, like to be meeting face to face, more so business to business development is really where my skill sets lie. My strengths lie as far as just cultivating relationships and just being there over time, nurturing them over time. Hopefully ends up in us, being able to have a really good relationship, really good business relationship. Yes.
Into the interview part.
I know. I'm sorry.
What's wrong with you?
I'm sorry. I just asked some questions.
I know.
But it's a few less questions you have to ask.
I know, seriously. Okay guys, we're gonna start off how we do every morning. This question's a little more involved though. Okay. So we always do, we go around and do names, and then here's the question of the day. You have $1 million or some significant amount of money, however much you want to pretend it is. You're not allowed to donate it or do like any of the like really kind, cheesy answers that'll make you look good. Okay, it has to be something like you just want. How would you spend it? Got it? Okay, so I'm Rosie, and have you guys seen the movie The Lake House?
Oh,
Like the glass house. Who doesn't love that movie? It's so great. I would love. You've never seen it?
I didn't need to see it.
Sandra Bullock, man.
Keanu Reeves.
I mean,
Not seen it either.
I haven't seen it.
okay.
I don't get it, but
I mean, it's confusing.
I
but
don't
like,
get the magic.
besides the point, it's two people who fall in love and there's a glass house and that's all that matters. Anyway, with
It's
a
all about
tree
the
in
glass
middle of the
house.
it's all about glass house.
Apparently.
Makes you fall in love.
Yes.
After
So
their
that's super cute.
mission on the bus. That was their
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Right. All together.
Speed.
Speed. That was
Yeah, I've seen that.
Just like that, but
Okay, so I would like a glass house with a tree in the middle in Brown County that has a great view. Just like a little place to like go.
So you have all this
Okay,
money.
$1 million for that. Okay, you spent $150 now. What are you gonna
Okay, so wait, so what you're saying is
I
this
probably
has to
shouldn't put
be
people off while
a
we
self-indulgence of some kind?
Yes.
Has to be
Travel around the
absolutely
world
self-indulgent.
Yeah, it has to be like travel around the world or, like
Okay.
it just can't be like, because I feel like you get this question, you're like, I have to be a good person, I'll donate it all to charity. Like, I'm just cutting out that answer. Of course we would all do that if we had $1 million. Okay, James.
I would probably do a fair amount of traveling, and then I might buy a bed and breakfast.
Yeah. What would your bed and breakfast specialty be?
Mountains and ocean together, if I can afford it. I don't think $1 million is gonna cut it though.
Yeah. Sorry, you can pretend.
We have to be out of the country.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
And I'm dead.
I'm Carrie, and
that far off from you. $1 million or any significant amount of money isn't really what it used to be anymore. So I would pay off all my debts, finish the rehab on my house, and then I would invest in real estate to propel that money further. Then I would start to donate.
Okay. After
Come on,
all
that
that,
works.
that was all good.
That
That was all good
works.
an answer. And then after that, after real estate and debt, what would you do?
I would start an organization that would help support disabled vets.
No.
Oh, wait, like that when I do
Something
selfish.
selfish.
Oh, what would I do? I would travel.
Okay, where would you go first?
Places where disabled vets live.
I know. God damn it.
Massachusetts,
Vietnam.
no, I'm kidding. I would go to Italy.
Yes. Good response. Okay.
That would be the
So
first
it's
place I go.
disabled
Then
vet.
Greece,
Mhm.
and then I would just stay in the Mediterranean for like 3 years.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it.
Love that.
I do.
I love that.
Fish, baby.
Beaches and food, what's better?
Man, a lot of good answers.
Yeah.
I feel like the first thing I would probably do would be to travel for sure. And I think like if all of my inhibitions financially were gone, then I think I would try to start some type of business, either a restaurant or a bar. I don't know. I mean, the restaurant industry is crazy, but it would be fun to try it. Right?
What kind of food would you make at your restaurant?
I have not thought about this a lot, but I have a buddy that was thinking about doing like a fancy hot dog shop, which would be like
Yes.
a walk-in garage.
Have you
Yes.
been? Have you been to the fancy hot dog shop in Cincinnati?
No, they had one in Tulsa that was good, but
Okay.
it's Tulsa, so I don't know how good it was.
There's a
But-
place in Cincinnati called The Center,
Okay.
which is my sister's favorite restaurant in Cincinnati.
Wow.
It's like a very nice hot dog shop.
Yeah.
Well, restaurant.
West Virginia too.
We go to
Really?
Dan's.
Hillbilly hot dogs.
Have you been to Dan's? Dan's is something, kind of, what is it, 52nd, 54th and College.
Yeah.
And it's the Italian, it's basically Chicago-based.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Dan's.
I have been there.
Chicago-based hot dogs, Italian
I didn't
beefs.
even realize that they had like hot dogs there.
Yeah, of course they do, Chicago hot dogs, dude.
Put ketchup on it, right?
They're so good.
Oh, funny girl.
Spencer,
Lots of
I want to
ketchup.
say it. I hope fancy hot dog shop happens.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'll be a patron.
Yeah, patronize you too.
Okay, Steven, I think travel as well. If I'm going all out, I think that I would move to London and get season tickets to Arsenal. I would buy one of those apartments at Highbury,
Wait,
the
you
old
get
stadium.
season tickets to what?
To Arsenal, soccer team.
Oh,
The
right.
best in
I
town
was
right
like,
now.
what's that?
Oh.
Never mind.
Yeah, I think I would go live over there for a while, try it out. It'd be awesome. It'd be fun.
Oh, yeah.
I would travel to as many places as possible until I found one where I would want to stay and live and use the rest of my money to be able to travel back home to visit.
I love it. Okay.
Me?
This is
Can I,
Will Jones.
can I get mine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I had $1 million, okay, I'm probably gonna buy that building right across the street from you guys, that whole building right there.
Whoa, yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna kick some of them out. Let you guys like them. You guys like them over there?
I mean, Greg's is great, but whatever, man.
Okay, well I'm trying to
This
open
is
my.
a dream.
Yeah, it's my dream.
You're allowed
Okay.
to dream.
I'm gonna buy that building. I'm going to set up a yoga studio in there. I'm becoming a yoga instructor.
Practice yoga?
I do. Vinyasa.
Yes,
Yeah,
where do you practice?
Indiana Yoga Studio on College,
Yeah.
right next to the bowl.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I do that. I'll probably open up my own, become my own yoga instructor. I don't know what I'm gonna do with lending. Probably that's probably kick that to the curb.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then I'm gonna take the rest of my money.
Mhm.
I'm gonna invest in his little hot dog place.
Yes.
Anybody else got
Are you
any?
gonna invest in
I'm
our
gonna, yeah, I'm investing.
neighborhood
Everybody invest in your real estate opportunity.
and my real estate
Yeah, I'm
opportunity?
invest in all of
And then
it.
we're gonna help vets.
Yeah.
It's gonna be beautiful.
Yes.
If you can move it to some of my home.
Yeah,
It's
it's
okay.
I like it.
Glad we
It's
have this
right.
on. Yep.
Subsidized.
Right. This is good. Thanks.
Look, we just figured out the world.
community,
Yeah.
yeah.
Figure out the whole world.
Now all we need is like what, 1, 2, 3, like $6 million bucks?
Yeah.
We're golden.
Good.
We're ready, guys.
Ready to go.
Let's do it.
That's just
Alright.
here.
Um,
He was here.
okay, guys. This is Will Jones.
Yes. Yes.
He is from MJW, and we're just gonna have a little like fireside chat today, do a little interview.
So keep them coming.
Yeah.
Throw all your questions at me. I hope to be able to answer all of them.
Yeah, I have lots of questions for Will, but pepper in where you feel like you want it.
Perfect.
Will,
Yes.
tell us about where you grew up
Okay.
and how you got to Indianapolis,
Okay.
if you didn't grow up here,
I did.
and where you live currently.
Okay. I'm originally from, to be a shocker for you guys, I know I'm gonna get another question when I say this, I'm originally from San Diego, California. And you guys can all tell me, why you want to be here? Why you want to be here? Well, you know what, I did, honestly, when I decided to come to Indianapolis, I had a lot of friends that even never knew where that was.
How old were you when you moved here?
I was a freshman in college, so I moved here to go to Butler.
Okay.
So my goal was, I didn't get a lot of D1 scholarships in high school, but my big goal was I wanted to play Division I sports. And so, trying to walk on to IU or Purdue, would probably be a tough, a tough stretch. I mean, the amount of people who want to go there and walk on. So I don't know how my mom came across Butler, but she said, "Son, there's this small school in Indianapolis that has a Division I program, and I think that if you go there, you have a high chance of making the team." That's all I
You
needed.
were like, "Let's
That's
go."
all I needed to hear. That's all I needed to hear. It's like, where is Indiana at again? And so, but it was one of the situations where it checked one of her boxes and it checked mine. I was able to get a good education at Butler. I was able to walk on and make the team at Butler. So played with coach was Barry Collier and Dad Mata, who went on to Ohio State to play. And actually, the guy that's on the head coach now was a teammate of mine when I played. So that Laval Jordan was a teammate and a good friend of mine now. So it's just funny how things kind of evolve. But I tell people, it's like if you're on, coming to Indiana for me was the least road travel,
Yeah.
And I tell people, if you're on the road and a lot of people on it, then it's not your path, And I felt like me coming to Indianapolis was probably one of the best decisions I could have ever made, not even knowing, the decision that I was trying to make. But it was a lonely road. It was a road that, was hard to really, get culture shock, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
Winters,
I need you to walk
whatever.
us through what your first Indiana winter was like. Walk us
Well,
through
when I
the
came, when I
emotional
walked out on campus, it was October, and I saw this dew. It was like the grass had this white dew on the grass. It's like, oh my God, snow. It's like, it's like you don't know what you're in for. You didn't miss the snow. I'm like, what is that stuff on the ground? Like, I don't know what is that. That stuff is on the ground, but that is not snow. And then I think that winter, we got hit with like a foot, like 12 inches of snow. And I flew.
So you hadn't seen
Not really. Maybe some people would
Like
go
it
to the
was-
mountains and people would bring snow in their trucks back home, from the mountains, and they had the snow, like, oh, that's snow. But really never seen snow. I remember flying back in from Christmas break, right, back to school, and just mountains of snow. Like, I was like, what?
What is happening?
What is happening?
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was basically that was my first Indiana winter.
Is your family still back in San Diego?
I have friends there,
Yeah.
but parents, everybody has moved. Just a little bit about San Diego, if you don't know, its cost of living is atrocious. So the idea is that unless you have a pension or unless you're super wealthy, you can't actually retire in California. You have to cash out and you have to go somewhere else where your money's a little bit, you can stretch a little bit longer. My mom bought a home in 1978, 76, right before I was born, for $65,000, 70,000, and she sold it for over 400, close near 400,000. But she couldn't take that money and invest it back in the San Diego market because she wouldn't get much for her money. So she had to take that. She moved in back home, back to her hometown in North Carolina. She bought a house and a rental.
Nice.
And now she's just trying to figure out what she's gonna do with her. So basically, no actual family in San Diego anymore, but I still have friends, in high school.
Yeah.
My best friend still lives out there, so.
Yeah. You live in Indy now.
Yes.
Where do you live?
I live in Lawrence. I live in a community called Brennanwood. I'm not sure anybody
Yes.
Brennanwood, right there, right on 56th Street.
Yeah, I graduated from Lawrence Central and
Okay.
lived in Brendan Park.
Brendan Park.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're right there. Yeah. So yeah, been there for about 3 years now. And,
You like it?
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I can see, don't see no reason why I would need to uproot and leave there. It's kind of me and my wife was like, this is our forever home. We're not going anywhere from here. So.
Yeah. And tell us about the wife. You have kids.
Yes, I do. Yes. Well, my wife is a realtor. She actually kind of the reason why I kind of moved into the business because it's hard to segue into this industry without having some type of foundation, some type of support in that way. So she said, yeah, you might be do good in the lending business. I said, I don't know about that. And now she's boss at home, but now she's boss at work too. So I don't know about that dynamic. I need a little something here. But I have a 1-year-old. Just turned 1 in December 16th.
Woo.
Yeah, so he's walking and growing and he's trying to.
Can he say
He's
dad or
trying.
mom?
He says dad.
Yes.
So I won that battle. Hasn't said mom yet.
Yes.
So
That's what I'm talking about.
she's a little bit jealous about that.
And your wife, Sarah Beth.
Yes, Sarah Beth.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sarah Beth
Works at-
Skidmore.
works at
Remax Ability
Remax.
Plus.
Yeah.
Indie Scene Team. I'm not sure you guys may come across her at some point.
Yeah.
But tell her I said hi.
We'll tell her you said really good things.
Yeah,
about
tell her I
her.
said
Yeah.
really good things about her.
So you got into lending through Sarah Beth, but
Yes.
what were you up to before that?
Like I was mentioning, I was working for people with special needs, disabilities. Basically, I was just a Uber. I was an Uber ride for them, and somebody to get them out of the house to do whatever the parents really wanted them to do, whether it was go work out, whether it was go shoot basketball or go to the movies or go to eat. I just maybe had about 5-6 clients that I would just basically just hang out with them. And really, I feel like it was one of the most impactful jobs. It was one of those jobs where you leave, you go home, you feel filled up. You feel like, man, I really love those guys. I really connect with them. I really enjoy spending time with them. But unfortunately, those jobs don't really, pay well.
Yeah.
And so that was the reason why I had to kind of get out of that. But before that, I was a independent contractor for local minority distribution companies that were trying to get themselves into the large hospital network systems like IU Health, Eskenazi, St. Vincent's, all those different things. So I would basically was a liaison, sales rep, negotiating contracts, things of that nature.
You had a really interesting background.
I do. Very, very, very unique. Very unique. Like I said, my own path, my own road, but I ended up here, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah. What has felt like your favorite part of lending so far?
Favorite part of lending is actually, when I came into the business, I just felt like everybody was more so an elitist. We want the people who are easy to finance. We want the people who have a lot of money, who have a DTI, who there's no issues. But there's a segment of the population, that deserve to be in homes. And sometimes it's not just an approved denial. It's like, okay, either you're approved or you're not ready yet. And it's giving a lot of people the education around buying and around financing, because there's a lot of misconceptions in there about credit credit scores and credit report, you know, and I have to come in and kind of, you know, recondition people to say, you know, the assumptions that you have are not the right assumptions. And really when it comes to things like credit scores, it's a science tool. And we don't know the science. I never knew the science of credit. I'm coming up, buying credit cards, making late payments on car notes and bills, and not understanding that one late payment could really bring my score down 25, 30 points. So then I, you know, educate people like, if you have commitments and you have bills, make sure you pay them on time. You know, if you have an installment loan, like an auto loan or a student loan where you need a revolving credit source to help balance, like a 1-to-1 ratio from actual installment credit versus revolving credit, like what helps you really boost points on your score? Paying balances down under 25%. You know, a lot of people don't know this information, you know. And so just educating people and giving them the knowledge to say, okay, now that I know, I have a better chance of getting myself, you know, in that position down the road. So that's basically educating and being a consultant to people is probably one of the most beneficial parts of my job. And then seeing people who've never been a homeowner and never thought they could be in a home, and then they actually at the closing table, just to see the pride and the joy that they have, you know, I think that's really what makes, you know, being a lender worthwhile.
So you didn't start at MJW, you started at another company, right?
First option mortgage.
Yeah. Tell us about like the transition to MJW, what that was like for you.
Well, as far as lending is concerned, you know, my thought process coming into lending was everybody has the same fees, everybody has the same rates. There's no way to, you know, to give somebody a rate that someone else couldn't give, you know. I thought that wasn't an option. Or fees. I thought fees were the same structure. But when it comes to find out, there are some lenders that are more top heavy when it comes to expenses, and there are some brokerages that are a little bit leaner. And the idea is that, you know, when you're looking at where we can sell loans to, we all sell loans to the same place. So we all have the same margin that we can make. As far as a lender is concerned, it's about how much of that piece of the pie needs to go to expenses, and then what can I make for myself? And so the idea, what I found out, that there was definitely some very unique differences between lenders. And the idea of the MJW Financial, we are a referral-based business as opposed to a lead gen business. Anybody know the difference between a lead gen operation versus a referral-based operation? Well, First Option Mortgage was a lead gen operation, and basically,
It probably felt pretty impersonal.
Their premise was, okay, you can go out and meet realtors all day long, that's fine, that's icing on your cake. But I really need you in this office because we have the Zillow leads that coming in, and you need to be here to be able to answer these Zillow leads, right? So that's fine, but didn't understand that the contract with Zillow, the overhead, the cost of that marketing, I didn't understand that was impacting my rates. So lenders have to recoup the marketing budget, and so they have to pad and inflate their rates in order to do that. So I was finding myself with very savvy, very sophisticated clients that knew what they deserved, that was saying, no, I'm not taking this high interest rate. I'm not taking $1,600 in lender fee, you know, with what they at the time with a 5% interest rate, you know. And then I had to come to you guys on every deal and say, well, okay, can you guys negotiate $3,500 in lender credit and seller concessions for me on every single transaction, so I can pay for the closing costs, but I have an extra $1,000 to drive the rate down, so I look competitive. And then that's not an easy task, especially in a very competitive market where you have multiple offers on the table and you over here asking for $3,500. You're probably not going to win.
Yeah, that's not
and so that's the lead gen model. And what I found out from MJW Financial, we're a referral base. We don't spend no money in Zillow. We don't have leads being piped in. We're lean, so we don't have to inflate our rates. So when your client comes to me and he wants the best deal, I'm actually able to deliver him the best deal, the best rates.
There's not many lenders at MJW, right? You guys are a pretty small team.
Yeah, small local brokerage. Actually, you know, I got some handouts for you guys. I just passed those along to you. If you want to pass those down, to kind of give you an idea. That's the picture on the front there. That's actual loan officers and processing. Processing everything's all in house. Underwriters, as far as we're concerned, we get a 24-hour. Basically, we personally have a 24-hour turnaround time when going to underwriters. So once someone's submitted to underwriters, a 24-hour turnaround time. So it's pretty quick when it comes to pretty quick and efficient when it comes to, you know, lending is concerned. That's pretty quick turnaround time when dealing with underwriters.
Yeah.
But as far as like, well, why going in MJW Financial was for those reasons. I wanted to be at a company that I knew could actually execute and get things done on time per the contract, per what you guys want, but also being able to put money back in the pockets of my clients and not really, you know, charging them an arm and a leg. Back in the day, there used to be two types of lenders. There used to be the price guide, your Chase, you know, your banks. They had the pricing, then you had the service guy. Those are your Ruoffs, your Fairway. Typically, they would battle with each other. Typically, the guy Ruoff would say, hey, you go to Chase, your loan's probably not gonna close on time. And the Chase guy was like, hey, you go to Ruoff, hey man, you're gonna pay an arm and a leg to get things done, just because of the service model and all the bells and whistles. We saw a segment and say, why don't we bring those both together? Why don't we figure out a way to bring those both together? The service piece where you get the pricing and you feel like you're getting that dedicated rep to make sure that nothing falls through the crack and that you actually meet, you know, your closing times. So that's the lane in the area that we've been able to bridge. Is those two gaps.
Well, I'm curious. So I set up this session like this as a Q&A because I think it's actually most important for agents to build a relationship with you and
Yes.
learn more about who you are. But not all of these guys, but some of them are really new in the business, and I want them to know, like, when their clients come to you and they're like, hey, I need a loan, what does the process look like from the back end?
Okay.
Like, walk
Yes.
us through
Okay.
what that looks like, what their
Absolutely.
clients will go through, what
Absolutely.
you're doing on your side.
Absolutely. There's four phases. There's four phases of lending. I try to break them down this way. You have your pre-approval phase. You have your conditional approval phase. You have your final approval, and then you have your CTC. Just broken down in those four categories. The pre-approval stage is you guys sending the client to me with an introduction, however you guys want to do it, via email, however you wish. You know, getting them the application. First step in the pre-approval stage is filling out the 1003. Filling out the application, pulling credit, seeing where we're at as far as the measurables. On the application, we're looking at basically kind of four categories. Looking at your debt to income ratio, your credit score, your income, and whatever assets that you have saved. So those are really the four things that we're evaluating come the application. Once the application is done, we would then request docs from the client. Requesting docs is basically to verify all the information that's on the 1003 is accurate and correct. Once we have that, we run our findings. Findings is an automated underwriting system that lets you know that all this information that we have in the system or have in the application, underwriters say that it's a good file or it's a bad file. So we run our findings up front at the very beginning because we want our pre-approval letter to be as much of a guarantee as we possibly can. So some lenders will wait until you're 3 weeks into the transaction to run their findings and to find out, wow, there's something about this file underwriters are just not liking. And so then you get that call.
That's bizarre to me that some people would wait 3 weeks.
Well, I don't know. First option mortgage is like, you can't run too many findings. You run too many findings, they're going to flag this file, you know, and you got to start all over, do something. Now that's a misconception. I mean, I run findings until I can understand what it's going to take to get this person approved if they're not already approved. And so if I have someone's file and I have a referral eligible and then I keep tweaking it to figure out, okay, what is it gonna take for me to get it approved eligible? Then I can really guide the client on what it is we need to get him to where he needs to be in the end. So I'm not sure why lenders do that, why they wait so long. I don't know if it's a cost issue or they just don't want to spend the money on it. Because there may be a cost to this particular running findings every time. But running it 3 or 2 weeks in the transaction, finding these things that you weren't aware of, and then have to come to you and say, we got a little bit of a problem. And your question back to them is like, well, why didn't you figure this out up front? Like, why am I just learning about this 3 or 4 weeks in that transaction? We're 5 days away from closing, and you're bringing this to me now? It's for that very reason. They're looking at a file on paper and assuming it's a good file. But you can't assume in this business. You know, you can't assume. You have to find out, run your findings at the very beginning, find out where this person is at, and then being able to educate and guide not only clients, but guide you guys on what it is we need to get done. So as far as that's concerned, so we run our findings, you're pre-approved, put them back into you guys find a house, get an accepted offer. That's when the loan process starts. Accepted offer. That's when people shop. That's when they have 7 days per the contract. They have 7 days to find their lender, lock their lender in. Once they lock their lender in, we order appraisal, we get the file processed, get it ready for underwriting. Okay? Once it gets to underwriting takes their time. They like I said, 24 hours, 20 to 48 hours, we get something back called a conditional approval. This conditional approval say this loan is good, but there's some conditions that we need. And with underwriters, they always find something. Okay? They always find something. So then we get those docs, we submit it back. Okay, now you're set up for final approval. Once you get the final approval, we do a verification of employment to make sure the person still got a job. Once that comes back, clear to close, CTC. Typically that takes an average, my average after CTC is 21 days. 21 days on average from app to CTC we're getting. The plan is to always try to move that up. But honestly, 2-week closings, people are like, I can get things done in 2 weeks. Well, 2 weeks is good, especially like, you rule off someone and you're like, we get things done in 2 weeks. I tell clients, would you rather push that back 2 more weeks, save a ton of money, or in that 2 weeks, trying to jam and cram everything in the 2 weeks is going to really provide an uncomfortable experience for your clients because, we're basically cracking whips, and once they get information, we're like, we need information like yesterday, instead of, and sometimes it's good for the realtor, to get their check in a couple of weeks, but as far as the client is concerned, it just doesn't provide a good experience for them. And I think a good experience as far as being able to get business referred back to you, you need to be conscious about delivering a good experience as other than trying to speed up the process. So that's a little bit just from pre-approval to clear to close, kind of in a nutshell, very just a very quick way to kind of give you information on
Yeah, that's great. When in the home buying process do you think an agent should introduce their clients to you? Like, is it helpful, like, once they find the house that they want to buy, or is it like their first meeting with the client?
I think,
like, hey, meet these lenders.
I think knowing is half the battle, because even if you say they find a house and they're ready to buy now, if they maybe talk with me three months earlier, there probably been some things that make their loan profile stronger for them. Because it's all about making their profile. Now some clients are strong at 800 credit score. You ain't gotta worry about them, But there's some clients that, I'm at a 700. It's like, well, you're at a 700, go conventional. We can get a pretty good interest rate. But if we were able to increase your credit score to above a 720, it's going to be better for you as far as it's going to be more cost effective for you as far as interest rate is concerned. And you're going to save more interest over the course of the loan. So I would like for them to, you know, knowing is half the battle. If people are not sure, if people are sure, they know their situation, I would take them for their word. But if there's someone that is like, I really don't know how much I can afford, I don't really know where my credit score is at right now, I say knowing is half the battle. Getting them to, instead of assuming where their situation is, getting them to know exactly where they're at will definitely help us determine how far out they are, you know, to buy.
Yeah, that's great. Guys, I have plenty more questions to go, but I wanna make sure you guys have it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I have a background in financial coaching, and one of the referral sources that I have will be the financial coaches that work in nonprofit sectors around the city.
Okay.
The people that they work with them to help them improve their credit and financial situation in general, but they tend to be low to moderate income. They tend to have had some pretty substantial credit concerns.
Bankruptcies, foreclosures, anything like all that kind of, all of the above.
All the above.
Okay.
So my question is, when I receive a referral like that, they wanna buy a home, which is usually with that type of client, something that they're just now even comfortable with the idea that they can own a home. But when they come to me and I wanna send them to you, if they are not still quite ready, what happens next with you?
Well, the idea for me is, I'm not an approved deny. It's approved, not ready yet.
Right.
Okay, so, and the not ready yet, we all know in this business, your pipeline 6 months down the road is just as important as your pipeline today. You're not working on pipelines for individuals down the road and just worrying about pipeline today. You're doing yourself a disservice. You know, you're gonna find yourself in some very tight situations down the road. So those clients are important. You know, I like to say, you know, it's all about letting you know where you're at, and giving you a game plan and a path that you can see kind of the light at the end of the tunnel. And so it's all about, typically a lot of it is, for me, it's credit. Credit is the big hurdle in a lot of these situations. And it's really looking at the credit score, looking at the credit report, and educating them on what they need to do that. And honestly, you know, America is the life of second chances. So sometimes in some people's situations, like bankruptcy might not be the worst route to go. When you're looking at 2 to 3 years being removed from that with better credit history and better practices, financial practices, you can be in a home in 3 years from a bankruptcy, you know, with convention. You know, it would be with FHA. So it's kind of, I don't necessarily say, hey, you need to go out and get a bankruptcy. I don't necessarily give people that. But I would say, you know, some people are pretty, are drowning in a lot of debt. And sometimes, you know, for them to say, okay, they have no money saved, for them to put down $5-6 grand on debt, you know, it's probably not going to be able to happen that way. So basically, it's giving them the game plan, the groundwork. But I tell people, like, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. You know, it's really on the client to say whether or not they're really ready, they really want to take this chance. And, you know, I'll be direct with them. You know, like, if you really want a house, this is what you need to do.
Right.
You know, but the idea, like, just being able to, like, handheld somebody all the way to the finish line, you know, that might be
financial coaches are for.
yeah. But that's what they do. But you know, for me, it's you know, when I get their files and they're not ready, I tell myself I want to give them something that they can do to improve their situation. Give them 3 or 4 nuggets to say, you do this, and this. Give me a call. We will then re-look at the situation. We'll re-pull credit, and you find out that the people that are really serious, they know they're when you give them homework and they do it, they're ready to come back to you and say, you know, I did these things, and they're really proud of that.
Yes.
They're proud that they've got that up to that point. So I get those calls like, hey, well, I did what you told me to do. Like, I had a person that was doing a VA on the cusp. Was actually Angelica Brewer's client, our first client together. And he wasn't ready at the time because his credit just wasn't conducive to a VA. And so we said, hey, you know, simply you're on the line. Let's get a secure credit card in your name. You know, 2 months of that. He did it. He called me. He's like, well, I'm ready. My credit score jumped 30 points. I'm ready to make that move. Got him under contract on the house, and he closed. And so those is kind of a little bit of an example of what's being done, what's being said after the fact, to kind of get people moving in the right direction.
Anyone? Okay, cool. I have more questions then.
Okay.
What are common mistakes that you see agents make in the lending process? Plenty of mistakes clients make, but like agents working with you, what do you see them do that you're like, oh, don't do that?
Well, I think the relationship between lenders and realtors, we are it's hand in hand. In order to be successful, you need a good, lender partner. And sometimes, being in this business and experiencing over and over different transactions, I mean, I'm going to learn a little bit about what you do. You're going to learn a little bit about what I do. But sometimes, when realtors feel like they're an expert in the lending business, and you have lenders that feel that they're an expert, in the real estate business, you can kind of step on each other's toes. I would say never discuss rates. Don't get into the ability of discussing interest rates with clients, because discussing interest rates, even though you might get some clicker feed, that come through where you have an idea what interest rates are, and those are not specific to each individual. And so if you give somebody an interest rate and they're stuck on that interest rate, and then I gotta come by and deliver them a higher interest rate, they feel like they're being mistreated, or they're being lied to, things of that nature. So I would say never discuss rates. I would say the other thing is setting the proper expectations with your clients. There's a lot of gunslinging that goes around. There's a lot of yes people. There's a lot of people who's going to tell you yes. There's a lot of gunslingers out there. There isn't people who have enough courage to say, I'm going to tell you what you need to know, not what you want to know. And so setting the proper expectations about lending, setting the proper expectations about the entire process, and really being open and honest with them and saying, like, buying a home is not easy. Everybody want to make it as easy as possible, but buying a home is not easy. If the lender asks for documents, get those documents back to them immediately. Yeah, you might be a little annoying, your underwriters and things of that nature, but they're trying to give you $200,000, or they're trying to give you this large sum of money to buy a home.
Right.
I mean, they ask,
I'm
saying they ask for a blood sample, they ask for a form. I mean, you might want to consider giving that up to them. So just setting the proper expectation, like, it's buying a home. Yeah, we're trying to make it as easy as possible, but just buying a home is just not a light switch.
Yeah.
Not a quick turnaround. Something that it's going to take up 30 days of your life. Commit to 30 days of this. Don't go out and buy a new motorcycle. Don't change your job. Keep things as consistent right now as you possibly can until we get out of this house. As soon as you close, you can buy the furniture. You can go buy the Lamborghini.
Whatever you want.
$1 million that you want. You can do whatever you want with your money. But right now, I need you to be as consistent as you possibly can right now. So just setting those. So basically, allowing the lender to be an expert.
Yeah.
But
Everyone
also,
stay in their lanes.
but stay in your lane a little bit, and
Yeah.
I have to step out early, but I have a.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, me.
So I find that, I've been doing this is my 5th year now, and I find that agents are often in the position of trying to fill their tool belt with lender options. A lot of it's obviously relational, but then beyond the relationship of just liking somebody, it's, there being the right loan applicability, the way that underwriting works, and then specific mortgage options that are like wins for clients that help to kind of determine who you work with. I don't feel like I feel like I'm at a good place, right? Like I feel like I'm equipped. But I don't work with MJW currently, not for any negative reason. And so, just to phrase it directly, why should I add you to the tool belt kind of? Like what are the specifics that are like, hey, if you're not sending us over to clients of yours, this is what you're missing out on.
Well, you said you mentioned you had a tool belt, right?
Yeah.
You know, you're in a good place. But it's our job, it's our fiduciary responsibility, not to our partners, but to our clients, to always be mindful and to always be open-minded to seek options and to seek unique things that someone can offer me, to offer my clients. And so I tell myself, yeah, I'm good to go with homeowners insurance. You know, I'm good to go with that. But I get a lot of homeowner insurance agents that want to call and want to talk to me. And you know what I do? I give them that appointment, because it's on me to vet out anything that I can possibly find that may impact my client. And I might meet with this guy and he don't have nothing that impact my client, or he's not doing anything unique or special for me to switch, but at least I'm open to the fact that I'm not just considering like my partners as the end all to be all, but I'm open-minded that there could be somebody that could bring me something that could impact my clients. So I'm always mindful of that. But the idea as far as MJW Financial, our premise is that we're going to deliver the best deal possible to your clients. So let me ask you this. If I was able to close on time, right? If I was able to close on time, but I was able to put more money back into your client's wallet, would that be a value? Would that be a So basically your partners, if they have a higher interest rate or they have higher fees, right? And I come in and I have lower interest rate, I have lower fees, but I'm still able to close the deal on time for you, would you see that as value?
Well, part of the benefit of MJW, from what I've understood, is like you have a private fund, right, that you pull from? Is that how?
Yeah,
I'm like terrible with.
No, we're brokers, so we fund all our loans, but we don't service them. So basically, once we fund them to say HUD or Fannie Mae, then they basically pay a small fee to the servicer to service the loan. So we fund all our loans, but we don't necessarily handle the servicing aspect of it. But the idea for us is we're going to get your clients, you know, the best deal. Our idea is like, it's 30 days, it's a mortgage. Why are you spending so much money?
Sure.
And the idea for you is that if you had a client, would you make them buy a house that was overpriced? Would you allow your clients, if you had a buyer, would you allow them to buy a house that was overpriced?
Unless they wanted to overpay.
Exactly. So the idea is that sometimes I feel like we're realtors, your fiduciary responsibility to look into that. And a lot of times you might not know what their rates are, but it's a good indicator from one mortgage company to the next. What is their origination? That's all you gotta ask. What is your origination fee? What is your origination fee? And you should know that. You should know what each lender or each partner you have, you should know what the lender fee is.
What is your lender fee?
Yeah.
My lender fee is $9.55 flat. And for FHA, we don't even charge it. So if an FHA client, because of the margin, we don't even charge FHA clients a lender fee, that $9.55. So if you're negotiating seller concessions for an FHA loan, you can really just negotiate the title fees as the closing costs. So whatever the title fees are, you know, that's all, as far as closing costs, that's all they're gonna be paying for that particular FHA loan. So typically, you know, just to give you an idea, not to put first option mortgage, I see them recorded. Not to
Oh,
put
yeah,
them out.
sorry, man.
Yeah, not to put them out on glass, but I mean, their origination fee when I was there was $1,500 to $1,600. And FHA, conventional, didn't matter. They were charging that, they were charging that processing and origination fee, regardless. So that right there kind of shows you you know, kind of where we're at. But, you know, the notion is, you know, the notion that's out there is you get what you pay for too. So you necessarily want to take somebody just with their fees and rates. So I mean, you want to make sure that they're able to communicate with you, they're able to execute, get things done on time. I mean, the mortgage business is a mortgage business, and I don't care what company you're with. I mean, shit hits the fan, and you have to have solutions. You have to be in the boat. You have to rise to the occasion. You know, you can't tuck your tail and run. Like, you know, so you need a partner. You know, you really need a partner that's going to, you know, demonstrate those things for you as well.
That brings us to time. Will, thanks for coming.
No, thank you, God. I appreciate everything.
Guys, just a reminder that this training, we're only running Monday through Thursday, so there's no training tomorrow, so don't show up. But next week we start off with Kelly. She'll be walking us through like how she lists houses and her process for that. And the day after that is taxes. We're having someone, CPA, come in and like walk us through taxes and ask all your questions. And then the last one I wanna hit is IPL is coming in next Wednesday to talk about their programs that I'm really excited about. So hope you can make it. And
Let's
that's it.
make sure everyone get a
Yeah.
card from you.
Yeah. Grab more bagels on the way out. Holy hell.
Carb up, everybody.
We'll carb up. Carb a loaf.
Michelle. Oh, okay. Are you
I'm not leaving.
United?
No, I work at my desk, I do a whole variety of things in the office, and I was able to work together.
So wonderful. Just think I think it helps assist you guys let me know, but hopefully it was out right.
Yeah.
Usually Saturday in like March and
So,
Yeah.
that was unique. That was very unique.
Yeah, that's it.
No one's ever asked me about me.
I
Yeah.
probably,
Never asked about me.
I would be
Yeah.
upset if I was telling them what their
Yeah,
job
well,
is,
I
work the
think-
minimum hours that you need. Like,
Yeah, it's.
just kind of keep it as a backup,
What I care about is
once I
getting
can
to
make
know
it
you and
enough, like,
having a
nice
relationship
perks.
with you.
I think if you don't have,
But yeah, I mean, like,
I feel like
to be done with it.
if your relationship
How are
is a
you,
working relationship,
like, what is your?
that's a bad relationship.
That is.
How are
It
you
needs to- you gotta
Not like
be,
the
you
actual-
gotta
You gotta be
How are
friends,
you?
you gotta be able to buy beer or drink together,
I think
you gotta invite them to the family picnics,
Right.
stuff like that, cause they gotta be able to not only, they gotta be able to call you,
Yeah.
the realtor gotta be able to call you and feel comfortable calling you, whenever. I'm saying, I'm in Jamaica, I'm on vacation,
I'm not there yet,
my
I'm
wife
not
actually,
on my way, I'm
You
just
can
checking
get
with
there
you.
with,
she surprised me
these
with
games
a,
that are growing.
she surprised me with a,
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm really happy with the hire.
trip to Jamaica
And
for
I
my
think
40th.
I
Just
turned
turned
Okay,
40,
I'm gonna
just
stop
turned
there.
40
the
off.
opposite of
Is that all right?
everywhere, like, last year.
And when she told, she
Okay,
surprised
I'm
me
gonna
with it,
cook
like
there, is
a
that
few weeks
okay?
earlier, right? And
I'm
the
making
sheer
this lunch,
panic.
okay.
You're
But
like,
they
All right, well,
actually-
I'll
Of the
see
sheer
you
panic,
in
and
about-
I'm like, the sheer panic, I'm like, dude, I got
Just
loans, I got
all,
stuff.
just
to
back
do.
up.
I can't, so I had to make sure I had
So, I feel like I see
had
this-
Wi-Fi, I had to make sure that I had about the upgraded, the international package on my
Right,
phone.
yeah.
You know what I mean, because like,
Then you get
I
like
can't, you know, I can't be
It's the
gone.
busiest time of the
Like,
season.
clients wanna
And we actually had.
hit me, they gotta be able to hit me, you know,
Yeah.
for whatever
And
reason.
then you're like.
And so just being, I tell like,
What's happening?
the-
Like, there's
the
problems.
lender that's- the lender that's 9 to 5,
It's
and
the
it's
end of the
like,
season is a
oh
wash
yeah,
essentially.
well, we don't meet till about 6 o'clock, I'll call you tomorrow, you know, you hear those little different feelings like that, you don't need that.
Yeah.
You need somebody who works right off, around the clock, who's accessible, they see your phone call, they can answer it, no matter what time of your day. That's just our nature.
Yeah, good man, busy.
If I don't do it, somebody's gonna do it. If I don't do it, somebody's gonna pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, so you gotta have that, you gotta have that, you
Yeah, I have.
gotta have that bond with your loan officer.
Got a couple.
Realtors, you know, you like that too, and if you want to make sure, if you're on team, then you have backup, or if you have a connection with another realtor, you have backup. The lenders, do you have anything like that, where you like call somebody
Oh,
your
absolutely,
backup?
I'm a team, I'm on a team. Me and Dexter Hinkley on a team together. I
Okay.
don't know if you ever met Dexter, big from MJW Financial.
I haven't met Dexter yet.
One of the biggest individuals you ever.
Really?
One of the, like,
So large.
I mean.
I've only met Chris Fasano and
Yes,
Yeah.
Just two of our buildings.
So you guys can back each other up, kind of going on vacation like that, but do you feel like there's still something that's sort of like, oh, I can't pass this off, I need to do both of these?
Yeah, absolutely. And you, like I said, just being accessible and knowing which one you feel like you can, which one you can desire into. Definitely. But just making sure there's somebody dedicated, somebody to help in the system. That's kind of what the idea is. It really just to bring about a better client experience.